No, he went, but he didn't go into all. He just said why, because it's a simon raw.
You don't make a bracha on it. The simple pshat is, listen to, it's a wild pshat. It's so simple. Every one of the items that you make a bracha on a simas of reishis are all from Shemayim, meaning they're not man-made. Something that's man-made is not nice of reishis. This was the Gemara tell us?
Oh, because the moon complained?
No, listen to the Appel.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Oh, because of the spring, the sun tilted.
Where does liluy hachama come from? When a person does Averis,
Simon raw. Okay, but we did it, or we created it.
it's through Averis. So it comes out that liluy hachama is because of man-made things. You don't make a bracha. It's man-made.
So what about we make a
We have to go through
we make a
But
bracha
he's saying
on
it only happened because of
Kesh is not something. The Kesh is ready.
It's also man-made. We misbehaved and
Today it's man-made. Today it's man-made, but it's really something that was. No, it's not my celebration. What bracha? You don't make my celebration.
But you make a bracha
I'm saying my celebration is only true passed on something that's from Shemayim, not man-made. So you have to ask me. No, you don't. You don't. That's my point.
So if you're telling me from the moment that the world was created, from
that's the moral.
It wasn't said that the orbit's going to be
that's
this way.
the moral of these questions. Like, what do you mean? Thousands of years ago, already knew that today it would be a thing. So he goes through that. Okay, let's.
You just said it's a simon raw. You can't make a bracha on simon raw, even if it's a simon raw for the goyim.
Is that your mother's Esther?
Yes.
She doesn't have her audio on. So can she hear? Or she called in 917? Is that her number?
917 is my father. My mother is.
So she doesn't have her video.
How do we know it's a simon raw? It's obvious because the
I
sun
have
is being
to-
blocked.
By the way, look what the Gemara says. The Gemara does say. The Gemara says 4 different things. Huh? The Gemara says 4 different things that cause. All 4 of those. You see it in the world today, and even especially recently.
Wow.
Okay, let me get
Tell her
this.
that it only happens once in 80 years.
Remember?
Yeah, Gemara Shama.
It's a pellet that it only happens every now and then. But not only does it only happen now and then, it's already preordained that it's going to happen in 20 years.
It happens on a schedule.
How could it be a simon raw?
No, every 20 years in North America.
Okay, let me get, yeah?
Okay, ready to start. I want to welcome Mordechai Appel back to Tzeh Ulmad. He's the author of Drachim B'Parsha and soon Drachim B'Parsha 2.0. Ways 2.0, Drachim B'Parsha 2.0. I know, but he's finishing a collection. He has a sefer. He's finishing his second sefer. Today's Tzeh Ulmad is sponsored by Menachem Bench, liluy nishmas, his mother-in-law, Shendel Bas Moshe Yoina Halevi, and by Duvie Menzelefsky, who had yahrzeit today for his mother, Chaya Bas Chaim Baruch. Right?
How much is the sponsorship? Not for me. My mother-in-law.
Right
You
now.
don't know what it's written.
My mother-in-law lives in Forest Hill, asks the gardeners how much it costs to mow the lawn. The guy says, in this area? For you?
Okay, let me get. Okay, so thank you for having me back again. Want to zoom in on a few interesting points. We'll try and put it all together over here. We find an incredible chiddush that it's mentioned again later on in the Torah. You find the first over here. Pasuk says, "Vayisa Aaron." I'm reading from Perek Tes, Pasuk Chav Beis, Parsha Shmini. Vayisa Aaron es Yadav Eloam Vayivarachem. So Aaron HaKohen his joy knew no bounds. He was in the highest level of joy possible, and he just felt so exalted. So the excitement that he had to share it with people. So what does he do? Vayisa Aaron es Yadav. He lifts up his hands Eloam to the people. Vayivarachem. He gave them a bracha. So he was so excited, he had to go ahead and share it with everybody. He gives them a bracha. What's this bracha he gives? We know, Vayivarachem says Rashi, Birkas Kohanim. Birkas Kohanim. Now, by the way, in case you don't know what Birkas Kohanim is, Rashi said, I'll tell you. Yivarechecha, Yoer, and Yisa. So there's a few things over here we want to discuss. First of all, there's a beautiful idea over here. The Swarm Akdeshim talk about this. Hasidus and many of the Machshavas from say this idea when a person is experiencing a moment of joy, if they want to concretize, they want it to last. It's very nice. You're happy and everything. We maybe by our nature, we're things we don't want to share things with other people. We want to keep it to ourselves. I'm trying to be down the cusps. Maybe it's because we're not good at sharing. That could be the other reason. The Svarim say that when a person's going through a matzav of simcha, of true joy, share it with other people. But share it in a way where it's meaningful for other people, not just to tell them what I have and you don't. But care, I'm going through a good time now. Do things for other people. Give things for other people. So comes along Aharon the Kehuna, and he was so besimcha over here. He says, I gotta bench the people. And he gives a bracha that lasts forever. The bracha that he gives is Birkas Kohanim. There's Rashi, Vayivarchem, Birkas Kohanim. And it ends up being nitzchis. So that's put that koyach into it, it becomes something that's nitzchis. And by the way, when a person experiences true simcha, simcha is what's able to bring Mashiach. Right? As the Swarm tell us that the simcha has the shorish of the word simcha is the same letters as Mashiach, right? The mem, the shin, and the ches. Again, through these types of things, when you think about other people through your simcha, you're able to bring it to a much, much higher level. Okay, but now we want to get to a very simple question over here. We all went to Cheder, we were all taught when you learn Rashi. Rashi's, as much as he's writing for the younger children, he's writing for the adults as well. There's no such thing as an extra word in Rashi. His ink was measured. And someone showed me a picture. Of Rashi. Okay. But someone showed me a picture of Usher Weiss of a cup that he had, a bucket that he had full of pens, empty pens. And he said he has a cheshbon of every pen, how many pages is he able to write with it on every pen. So every time he finished a pen, he put it into the bucket, he would save them. You can see it's a picture, it's available, you can see it. Every word of Rashi was measured. Every child, every person who learns Chumash understands that if you look in Parshas Nasai, you see what is Birkas Kohanim, Yivarechecha, Yoer, Yisa. So why is Rashi telling this to me over here? Rashi's telling me, saying, I don't know. Rashi's saying, by the way, Vayivarchem, Birkas Kohanim, if you don't know what that is, what do you mean? Everyone knows what it is, first of all. Secondly, it's psukim beferish in the Torah.
We're not there yet. We're only in Shmini. We got to get all the way to Nasr.
Okay, fine. So then what's Birkas Kohanim?
Why do you say the word Birkas
Yeah,
Kohanim?
what's Rashi telling me? That's the first question. Another question is, we say in Birkas Kohanim in davening, Shemay Nesri, Chazar Sashatz, Rochen Bavrocham Shalashis Bater, Aksuba Yidei Moshe Abdecha, Amura Mipi Aharon Uvanov. Again, no kiddush there. We know it's from Aharon Uvanov. What are we adding? How do you read that? So if you look in,
Let's go put a comment.
We'll look at three. I'll show you three different versions of Art
The
Scroll.
early ones had it wrong.
One version of Art Scroll has no comma. Another version has after the word Batera, Shalash is Batera, but it's not three times in the Torah. It's only twice in the Torah, here and in the Nasai. So then the newest version has it B'Chen B'Bracha Shulash. It's a threefold bracha. Comma Batera. Where's the Torah? Fine. But now what's this Hamur Pi Aharon Uvanov? So says Tzvi Pesach Frank something incredible. He says like this. Aharon the Kehuna was excited. He wanted to do something special. He said, I want to go ahead and bench Klal Yisrael in a very meaningful way. He says, what's meaningful? He composed, at that moment, he composed, he copyrighted, he coined brand new brachas. These three brachas. Later on in Parshas Nasai, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, go tell Aharon the Kehuna to give a bracha, Hashem went and he gave the stempel, the approval. He said, I loved what Aaron did then. I want to use this forever. So now he took Aaron's bracha earlier, and he said, this is going to become the bracha that everyone's going to use. So that's why Rashi over here, it's what you were saying, but this was the whole background. That's what Rashi over here says. Vayivarchem, Birkas Kohanim. Wait, what's Birkas Kohanim? We never heard of Birkas Kohanim. He says, no, it's Yivarecha, it's Yor, and it's Yisa. It's an incredible idea. The copyright came from him, but it's something that lasts forever. Again, because we said he had a matzav of simcha, he wants it to last. He gives to other people. And there's also a tremendous chiddush over here that when, first of all, before that, I just want to mention something. It's a story it's a personal story that I hold dear to my heart. When we talk about Birkas Kohanim, the koyach of Birkas Kohanim, I was davening the Kaisel many years ago. I used to daven every morning with Reb Mordechai at the Kaisel, and davening with him. And there was an old man showed up at the Kaisel with this huge garbage bag. He put it down on a chair, had a stender, and it was full of dollars. I mean, you thought that he was going home with this with the Rebbe. This is like, this guy had a huge garbage bag full of dollar bills. And people were lining up.
Was it laundered or was it
people were lining up, and he was like,
giving it out?
Giving them out, one after another, giving them out. So everybody was going there. It was Birkas Kohanim, and everyone's over there running. And like our minion was like dwindled completely. And now the Kohanim are there basically on their own, right? So I start like moving because I wanted to see what was going on. I'd never seen this before. And as I'm trying to get out there to go, it wasn't the dollar, it was the Chaya, right? The experience. Okay, grabs my hand and he holds me in place. So I'm like, okay. After davening, he says to me, Matchala, I want you to know something. He says, what you can get from the Kohanim is worth more than anything anyone in the world can give you. It's worth more than all the millions and everything else. Gesund and panos and nachas and shidduchim and children and everything comes from the Birkas Kohanim. He says, don't sell it away for $1. This is what
is a sitter that I use that has like a translation of the commentary and translation on the side. My Birkas Kohanim says specifically Baruch Hashem, and says in smaller print the Mamang.
Yeah.
Hashem says that he should save you from people taking away your money, and even it says even if you're not roy, right? He says Hashem and that way he says that even that you should protect you from people taking away your money.
Yeah.
Even if you're not roy.
Yeah. Why would this guy give me out the dollars? He never found out.
He's giving me out dollars. I don't know. Okay. I got a lot more than dollars, Baruch Hashem. Okay. So there's another idea that comes out from this. Aharon the Kehuna, and he had his job to do, but he came up with a chiddush. And what we learn from that is that every single person in this world has a chiddush to give over. I'm just doing my thing. No, everyone has a chiddush, and everyone could give over the chiddush. The problem is we're always busy focusing on everyone else. We don't end up doing our chiddush. But everyone has a chiddush. Sometimes we have to stop and think, what is my chiddush?
How do we see that everybody has a chiddush?
From Aharon the Kehuna.
Aharon had a chiddush. How do we see that everybody has?
No, because Aharon didn't come there trying to. He didn't come there focusing on winning, give chiddushim and things like that. He went. He looked around and he says, "This is what I want to do," and that became. He didn't know it would be accepted. He went. He did what he was supposed to do, but from there came out a chiddush.
Only through simcha.
Through simcha about it.
I still don't know how to add.
I'll explain it to you after, if you don't mind. But the Swarm explained that this concept that everyone has a chiddush, and if a person understands that they have a chiddush to give over, they're going to stop trying to be someone else. They'll stop focusing on everyone else. They're going to focus on themselves to the point where they can try and start accomplishing and bringing things out. Reb Nissen Kaplan from his show, he would typically say over the story, he said this over in El right before Shoshana one year, how there were two bus drivers working for Eged. One of them had route number 7, the other one had route number 11, or maybe it was 12, whatever it was. One of them, the 7, he has this Knakidika route, it's busy and stops and people are fighting to get onto it. And the other guy with 12, he has to the old age home, and sometimes he has 20 people throughout the day. And every day it's eating at his nerves, it bothers him. He says, this guy's a Knaki at me. He says, what's with me, right? And one day, that's it. He comes early and he says, that's it. Today is my day. He comes there early. He puts on the shallot. He puts on his little thing that says number 12, number 7 instead of the 12, and he switches the route. And he goes and he's driving the other route, and the entire day he's mamish, he's bags and bags of money he's getting. And at the end of the day, he comes into the office, and the manager looks at him. Did you rob a bank? Like your route doesn't give out, like 20 people. He says, no, today I did number 7. He goes, why? He says, look how much money I made for the place. So he gives him a pink slip. Why? I made so much money. He says, no, you're chuchum. He says, that route, first of all, was already covered by somebody else. Secondly, because you didn't take your route you're supposed to take, we have a deal with the government. The government gives us, everyone wants the big routes, right? But there's lost leaders. There's other routes that have to be taken. If they're not done, we get fined. Because you didn't, we got a terrible knife, and we're going to end up having to pay money because you didn't take that route. Plus, the route that you did take, it was already taken. So you not only didn't you add money for us, you lost money for us. So Reb Nissen would say beautifully, he says that we all have jobs. We all have our tachas. And you're trying to be somebody else. That job's already taken. I once tried to be someone else, but everyone else was taken. So now I got to
do my job, and I'll do that job.
So we'll talk about that in a second. I'll tell you, I was once in the airport with my wife, and I noticed something very interesting. You see all the different suitcases coming out, and there was not that we know names, but there was a Louis Vuitton leather suitcase, like a fancy suitcase. It was just going around and around a few times. Like, you couldn't miss it. So my wife, I said, it's an interesting thing. How come nobody's swapping that suitcase for their suitcase? We have huge suitcases, right? And this guy, a fancy suitcase, maybe swap the suitcase. Even my dirty gachkas, I can't get in that suitcase. The bare basics that I need, I can't get in that suitcase. It doesn't help me what someone else has. The tools that I need, it doesn't help. Everyone has their specific thing. And this is what Aharon the Kehuna understood. The Medrash says that Medrash in Parshas Pekudei. Meiser of Shimon ben Chalafta. Reb Shimon ben Chalafta is from the latest time, the Talmud of Yehuda of Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rebbe. And the story was like this: Meiser of Shimon ben Chalafta Sheba erev Shabbos v'lo her lemein li'isparnes. Nothing, no money. What's he supposed to do? So Yatzel lechutz min ha'ir, v'spal lefnei Elokim. Medrash is brought in a few different places differently. In Rus, it's brought a little differently. The Yerushalmi it's brought again differently. And the Medrash says he had no money, so he goes outside of the city and he starts davening. Suddenly the heavens open up. So this beautiful gem, beautiful stone was given to him from Shemaim. He says, "Oh, this is worth something." So in the son of the Shulchani, he gave it to he goes over to the person who's in the business, right? Medrash and Rus says that he went actually to Rabbeinu HaKadosh, showed it to him. He said, well, don't sell that for anything cheap. Pirnas Oisa Shabbos, that Shabbos he had what to eat. Amr Ishta, he had money for Shabbos. Doesn't say he had what to eat. Amr Ishta, so she says to him, Mehechad Elu, like the guy comes home, he did shopping, right? Where's it come from? Amrullah, he says, Mimasher Pirnas HaKadosh Baruch. Hashem gave it to us, Baruch Hashem. Guy does a good deal, how did it happen? Hashem gave it to us. So she says, no, not so quick. Amr, she said, if you're not going to tell me where it comes from, I'm not tasting, I'm not eating anything. His chil masapel, he starts telling her. He says, I davened to Hashem, they gave it to me. She says, I'm not taking this unless you promise you're returning him on Shabbos. I'm not keeping this. And the Medrash over here says it one way. Basically, she says, from Shemaim, your crown in Shemaim is going to be missing a gem. Where do you think it came from? It doesn't come from nowhere. So it's Gemara says, okay, with the days Adar. Right. So the Gemara continues. So your table's going to be missing. The next guy over in Gan Eden, he's full, and you're empty. He turns to his Rebbe, Rabbeinu Kaddish, tells him over this story. And he knew how bad the situation was at home. So Amalei, he says, Lech Amrla, go tell her, Im Shulchanei Chaser, I guarantee you everything's going to be fine. You're going to have what you need upstairs. And she wouldn't buy that. So he says, okay, go tell her, Im Shulchanei Chaser, if your table is missing something, I'm guaranteeing you, I'll pull out from my own Gan Eden and give it to you if you're missing something. It's a beautiful offer, right? What does she say back to him? What you're equipped with is not going to help me. It's very nice, but you have a different life than me. Rabbeinu Kodesh never was missing a dollar in his life. Now, he never tasted anything either. Right? At the end of his life, he lifts up a finger and he says, "I never was nana from this world." But he also had pas b'salah. It was tremendous wealth. So she says, "Your life experiences don't help me. Your Olam Haba are different than mine will be. I can't use that." And it quotes the pasuk afterwards. It says, you don't see what the next person has. As the pasuk says, Ki adam el beis olamai. The person, we say this by the liluy, right? Ki adam el beis olamai. The person goes to his world. Olamai. Everyone has their own world. We have to realize that the tools we have, every person has a different set of tools. We have what we need. I can help another person, but I can't give them what they need. They have to do that on their own. That's again the same idea over here. Once a person accepts that, once a person fully accepts that he has certain kaiches and he has his set, so memela, I don't look at the next person begrudgingly, because I realize that my tachas, my route on this bus, my tachas in this world is different from the next person, and if I see the other person has millions or billions or nothing, it's because his job, he needs to have what he has, and I don't have that job. Once a person has that, now we come to Chaim HaKadosh in this week's parsha. Right at the beginning, what was Moshe Rabbeinu's job right at the beginning of the parsha? He has to go and tell Aaron, tell his sons, that they're going to be the Kohanim, they're going to be the ones running everything. How difficult was that for Moshe? He thought that was the job he was getting. Not only that, Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't have sons that are going in his ways. We don't talk about Moshe's sons, right? Because they weren't the next Moshe. They didn't carry on. Moshe Rabbeinu would have loved to have seen his sons take that job. Instead, he has to tell Aaron, your sons are going to be the ones. So how does he deal with such a thing? So says the Chaim HaKadosh, it's incredible how he writes this. He says, when someone does such a thing, she eating gedula, and it does gedula that I knew that I thought it belonged to me, and I give it to somebody else, and not stam to a person. He has to give it to his brother. Right? There's this brother-sibling rivalry, right? How difficult is that? When he's forced to do it, he's not going to be able to just do it flowingly, easily. He's going to do it begrudgingly, slowly, sluggishly. He says there's three areas over here that a person will typically falter in. He says he should be doing it quickly, with alacrity, with Jesus, with excitement. But instead he does it slowly. I'll get there when I get there. He'll push it off a bunch of times. Habez, B'tziruf, procrastinate exactly. Habez, B'tziruf, B'chinas ha'adrogas, she'eshem b'davar. Could be there's a bunch of steps that have to happen. Okay, I'll do one step now. I'll do the next step later, instead of doing it all in one shot. Hagimel asiyas hadav b'personal fnei rabim. Says he should be doing this in public, but instead he says, like a quick hand up. Like, oh, by the way, you're the next. Like, boom, you never see him again. But that's not what Moshe Rabbeinu does. He says, he did all three of these things in one shot. He was doing it quickly. It says on B'yam Hashmini, when it was in the morning, the Harlev, the pure person, meaning Moshe Rabbeinu, he didn't hold back. Ela Tekef, Karla, Aaron, right away he called Aaron, losses la Kehuna, Loinesatzel. He wasn't lazy at all. Number 2, Beis, Asa Dover Betzer Bechinas Hadrogish Nasa Kehuna Aaron Bon Yachat. He went, not just, okay, first Aaron, then later on I'll call the next son, then later the next son, because, he's has to come to terms every step of the way. No, he does this all in one shot. Hagam Kibazeh Yigdal Itzav Believe. He says it's much harder to do it in one shot. Shir Gedula Meshachas LaAaron Ubanov, Vashiyatzev Aliba Yasa David Drogas. So the truth is, Hashem never even told him that you have to put. He knew. He knew what he was supposed to do. Because Hashem didn't tell me. When Hashem tells me the next step, I'll do the next step. Because Hashem didn't tell him, he says, but that's what Hashem wants. Right? He says, who says that he had to do it, but he did it anyway. He does it in public. He gives his brother a thing. He makes a dinner, guest of honor. Aaron, he's the one who gives him the award. How does Moshe Rabbeinu come to the ability, the strength, the koyach, the inner strength, the gevura to do this? Because he knows his place in life. He accepts that this is what Hashem wants from me. This is my place. This is where I'm supposed to be, and this is my skill set. Once a person accepts that, nothing else phases him. And that's how all the when you talk about emunah, you talk about chayvus halvavus, and all these different areas of hashgacha, how it works. Well, if I accept that this is what Hashem wants from me, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now, I'm doing it to the best of my ability, Hashem takes care of me, I don't have to start being jealous of other people. It might be nice to have that, but it's not going to help me.
So why did he daven by Veschanan after not going to Eretz Yisrael? So he davens for 500 times, except without may change your mind.
But one second. Over there, first of all, anyway, shkoyach, everyone, thank you.
Okay, so fantastic.
I did want to mention also the Baruch Ber. The Baruch Ber was an interesting story happened by him, that he, on the way to the chuppah of his daughter, the would-be son-in-law had cold feet on the way to the chuppah and backed out. And this was a tsunami of a catastrophe. Like this was Baruch Ber was making a chasna. Everyone was there, and the chassan didn't show up. He broke off the shidduch. Everyone was heartbroken. It was very, very difficult to deal with. And what happened? A few weeks later, or a year later, she got married. She ended up marrying, I think it was Reuven Gruzovsky. Right? So she got married. Don't worry about it, right? But the guy shows up to Baruch Ber asking for a letter. For what? Not for a sefer, for a bonus job. He says, well, you know me because you were willing to take me as a son-in-law, so obviously you approve. Can you please give me a letter?
Well, he liked his moxie, yes, his guts.
And what did Baruch Ber do? He writes a letter and he calls him to Talmidim. He says, please read the letter over and over again. I hope I didn't have any negiyas over here. I hope I had no negiyas. That's one. A second story I wanted to tell you. The Eish Kodesh. The claim is kind of PSS. Right? The Eish Kodesh. You hear the claim is coming. I'm excited. PSS. Yeah. Claim is coming. PSS. When it was his time, he was killed during the war. When it was his time, he said, 1 second. He ran, he put on his Shabbos clothing. He said, I'm going to run. I'm going to run to exactly where I need to be. He says, this is what Hashem wants from me. I accept it fully. And he put on his Shabbos clothing. How does a person come to such levels? Incredible. How do we come to that? The answer is, well, that's why Shabbat is a Gedalim, right? But on our own level, if we're going to accept who we are, what we're supposed to be doing, and not be busy with other people, be busy with ourselves, then we're able to come to a higher level. We're able to accept things. Anyway, thank you.
Can we just stop the camera? Okay.
Now it's ad hoc. Now it's off the record.
Oh, it's off the record.
What do you ask you
Who said the first word with Aaron having the power to
That
was
yeah,
a
we're
big
on.
book.
I know, you told me.
I forgot to say.
She was a frick.
No. Oh, okay.
Brings it in Hartzvi.
Excellent.
In Hartzvi he brings it.